this makes probably no sense to you. Why do I have a freaking mask on my face? Well, it kind of makes sense to me because this is how I actually went online just a few years ago. Whenever I was going live in my community, a community that I had created, I put on this mask because I was afraid of what other people would think of me. I was afraid of what they would say if they saw the real me. And it took a long while. It took a lot of fear, honestly, to be able to remove the mask and then just show them who I am. And I think it's a very, it's an apt metaphor or analogy or whatever you want, symbolism probably, for what's going on in the world right now, where people don't really speak their truth. They don't share who they really are. And they keep up this mask of appearance for other people to like them. So, just speaking from experience, having a mask on your face is warm, sweaty, messes up your beard as well. But it's a lot more liberating to just be yourself. Just be your crazy old self. And with that in mind, I have something that I want to show you. Something that I'm pretty freaking proud of because I've been doing things that is interesting. The last few days I've been creating and creating and creating and creating. So let's see if I am ready. I don't know if I'm ready. That's the fun thing about this. I think I am. Okay. I wanted to kind of go into this in a more engaging way. I still haven't found the perfect background music and all that stuff, but that's gonna come. But I want to show you and tell you a story. I want to show you something that probably will evoke some feelings. You might feel this, and if you do, that's perfect because I live by this philosophy where I would rather make you feel something, and then based on that experience, you make up your mind as to what that was and how to deal with it, basically. But let me tell you a story. All right. My journey is a long and colorful one, and I believe that if you have something to deliver to the world, your experience is what's going to carry you the farthest. Like, not the strategies, not the tactics, not what other people are saying that you should do in order to XYZ, but the things that you have gone through, the things that you've learned through the pain and the experience and the insights that you got from doing them. And every one of us, every single one of us, I am certain about this, have something that changed the reality of who they are. Hold on. I'm just going to bring in the tribe as well. There we go. It's a very awesome thing to, have this tribe where you can just shoot something out and then you have people coming in all of a sudden and just joining it. Basically, I think that every one of us have these milestone moments in life where something happened and it just transformed who you are, and you might not see yourself as the same person anymore, and the pain may have transformed you in ways you didn't really imagine. For me, I have a few of those, and it started in 2015 because that's when I got diagnosed with an inoperable blood clot. I was sent to the hospital after waking up with my arm being huge, and nobody figured out what it was. And they soon figured out that this was a blood clot. It's a long story back and forth to the hospital where they tossed all kinds of diagnoses and hearsay and thoughts and whatever crossed their minds, basically, until they figured out that maybe they should send me to the hospital. And by that point, they did that in a plane. I got a freaking plane, a small 2-person plane that they flew me up to the capital with. And I was scared shitless. I thought I was going to die. That's what they told me I was going to do. So, of course, I believed them. They are the experts. And up there, they saw that I had this blood clot and that life would change. I didn't know what to believe. And honestly, it took a long time until it really sunk in. And in 2007, I had gone 2 years with this condition and just let it fester and let it take control over my life. I had become so victimized and so negative. So, of course, I started to drink. And in 2007, I became nationally known as the person who torched a freaking mall in my local town. During a drunken stupor, me and someone I hung out with was just going out to get a PS3 because this was in 2007. It just got out. It was a pretty new item. It was amazing. I had one. He wanted one. And we did stuff that now just feels surreal because we tried to break into this electronic store, didn't work, called in a fatal accident to the cops to get them out of the city. A whole bunch of things that happened, and that escalated to us going over to this mall where he didn't manage to get into the mall, and I was sitting outside, and he came across or around the corner with a can of gasoline, and that got torched behind the mall, turning the entire mall into a freaking bonfire. I can promise you that experience, just seeing that burning, that changed me in itself. But the day after, drunk and shitty, waking up to knocks on the door, and there's cops outside, the most horrible thing that I could ever have imagined to wake up to. But I knew I had done something. It was kind of inevitable. Someone would notice that the mall is not there anymore. I actually was there. It was still burning. So I went down there and I laid all my cards on the table and I was tossed in jail for the first time. And in there, I met people. I learned things. I changed a lot. And things in there changed me to the degree where I was prepared to do things that could have ruined my life forever. Really bad. But that was a milestone in my journey. But this was nothing, again, compared to becoming a father in 2015. I got an Ewok with a beard, or, a mustache. After that, I saw that I had to do something else, because by this point, I had a job that I was trying to keep, but my blood clot did not want me to keep that job, so I had to quit the job, and I had this son, and all of a sudden, I didn't know what to do, right? So I started to go online. I tried to figure out what can I do that is not going to require me to go and faint on the job for someone else to basically deteriorate my health. So I started the adventure, and I moved out, and I met an amazing person in 2016. I didn't add that here. Even though it was one of the most transformational moments of my life, I didn't add that. Because my journey really started in 2015 when I saw that I had more to live for. After that, I received this other beautiful person into my life who blessed me with a daughter. Now that in itself was a surreal experience because now I had 2 kids. And by 2018, that's where things really hit the fan. That's when they got deported. Because we have been fighting for a love for 7 years now. And that moment, 2018, that changed my entire fabric of reality. It changed everything. Because I can't, even after having $4 million in debt, being in prison for 3 years, having the blood clot, and all the different things in between, seeing my daughter and my fiancé being deported wiped my soul clean. That ruined me completely. And the fascinating thing about this, the reason I'm saying this, is because I documented fucking everything. Everything was documented. This was my face as it happened. This is as it happened.
I feel mad, straight jacket. Feel like going on a junket. Travel light within a bed. Being right, feel the net. Mind of a man better than a market. Ain't on hours.
took some time for me to even see that and not crack up. Even if I go into that story now, if I really go in and see and just feel and just go through the motions of that day, I'm basically gonna burst and break down because it's such a painful emotional anchor in my story that just reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing. In that video, I basically said, now it starts. And this was day 79 of my challenge, my saga, my world document, my life documentation, basically. So that changed me, but it all started very, very simple. And look at that, it did something that it was not supposed to do. There we go. Where it really started was day 1. Day 1, I sat myself in the shed and I tried to see, what am I doing? I had no idea what I was doing. So this is what my first challenge video looked like, my first saga video. But I had been trying to do stuff for years by this point.
That's not the point. I have to think about filling up $3 just to get to the store to buy a bread. Because if I fill for $4, I won't have enough money for the bread. That's the situation right now. Okay, you're doing good. That's the situation right now. That's bad, right? You can't, if I can do it, if I did it, that all, I'm gonna do it. That all depends on when you're watching this. Actually, I'm sorry about that. If you're watching this 100 days from now, when I'm celebrating the end of the challenge and the changes that came with the challenge, and the work that has come into fruition, yeah, then you can see that it was totally possible. I have worked so hard for this.
Yeah. Still working. I have to fix the animations on that thing. That's what I have to do. Now, 4 years later, this is 4 years ago. This was 4 years ago, and now I'm vibrating on a completely different level. 4 years later, I'm freaking proud. I freaking proudly introduce your personal saga. Self-awareness, growth, and adventure. Now, this is a program, but I'm going to go and do something that most people don't. I will give you most of this for free because I know that only those people who see this and really get inspired, really want to see this through, are those who are going to get value from this. So I have no quarrels. I have no limitations in just doing this live. Hold on. I'm going to have to say goodnight because the time flies. So, I'm going to try to create a journey for you. This is going to be a very interesting thing because I've never done this before. This is basically my trial. This is my field test. I'm just seeing how it works, how it is when I'm doing it live. And I think it's going to work out fine because I feel good about sharing. Like, I'm smiling just talking about it. In this whole thing, there are 10 chapters. 10 chapters that's going to take you from where you are to where you want to go. And then it's going to guide you and support you and all that stuff throughout. But it's not like all the other things where I'm telling you what to do. This is you doing the things. You are unveiling your magic. You are going in and you're doing the work. You're getting the experience. You're feeling freaking amazing. And with that feeling, that's the feeling is the key here. You're going to see that so many things happen. I'm going to go through every single chapter in this presentation. And then after that, let's see what I feel I could add as I go through, because this is, as I said, a field test. I'm just seeing what works and what doesn't. So 10 chapters, all the way up to the elixir, actually, all the way up to
the elixir of enlightenment.
Yes, we're going to do a lot of effects and stuff. Chapter 1, Call of the Legacy Forger. Most people have trouble seeing this. Like, if you are about to do this, the call is not something that is just tossed out there without thinking. Call of the Legacy Forger. You're going to feel called, because when you have a dream and when you start thinking about what you want to do in life, and when you see that you have something to offer, you are going to feel like you have no choice. You're going to have to do it because that's just who you are. And that is one of the most fascinating things about this. You're going to see that you are capable of doing it. That's the point of this, where I'm going to show you how to do it so that you can't unsee what you have seen. That's more or less the point. Good strategy, right? In that chapter, you're going to listen to the silent screams of your soul. And that is literally, if I tell you something that just resonates with you and you see that, oh shit, this is actually true. This is me. He's talking about me now. I have that dream. I haven't shared it. I want to do something about it. Oh my God, I'm being put to the test. Your soul is going to scream. Silent screams. But it is an amazing feeling because then you see, oh my God, I have the power. It's me. I have to do this thing. So it's powerful. We also commit to the journey. This is where you take the conscious choice and you say that, okay, fuck it. It's enough is enough. I am ready to actually embark on this thing to get started on my saga and start creating the life that I actually want instead of the life that I've been told and taught to have. Yeah. It's not a fun thing to realize that you've been taught your entire life, not really taking any of your personal decisions, and where you are today is based on what you did for listening to other people's advice. Many people have that feeling. But just being aware is the first step, right? Then we're going to plant the seed. That is a big one because we're planting a seed that something else is possible, that you have the ability to do something that you did not previously think that you could. And just by doing that, you're going to feel that seed growing inside of you. Yeah, I realize how that sounded. I'm contemplating the fact that I said it right now. And then we're going to gear up for the adventure. This is basically getting the resources, getting the tools, getting all set up to start your adventure, the saga, the journey, the development adventure. There are just a set amount of words I can say until I kind of spent that concept, right? Chapter 2, the Bridge of Bravery. This is a big one. This is something that is going to come up at all levels of your life and in varying degrees of intensity. And depending on what you want to do, well, that dictates what's going to happen, because how you react to situations is by far the most impacting thing that could impact anything. How your reaction dictates whatever you're going to see in life, in my humble opinion. And I'd say this because I've gone through so many of these. I've crossed so many freaking bridges. And some of them were not even there. Like you have to throw over like a grappling hook and then try to tightrope your way over that bridge. Some of them could be fucking crushing. But, as again, there are tools. There are so many things that you can do to see that differently, to have a different perspective when you meet those things. So just going into that and facing your fears and identifying your dragons. We all have dragons inside, but many of us don't really recognize them, or we don't talk about them. We don't really acknowledge them, and we just try to bottle them up. You know, dragons don't like to be bottled up. They will do some shit in there to get out, and if they do, they can wreak havoc. Arm yourself to defeat them. I like to arm myself with a pair of tweezers, because those kind of symbolize how hard it fucking is to kill an internal dragon sometimes, but when you have slain the dragon with your pair of tweezers, you're going to feel freaking amazing. And that feeling is going to just, transfer into other areas of your life. I promise, because I've done it so many times that I think there is a pattern. I think that there is a universal code to this. And that's why I'm so confident in just saying it as it is, because this is just based on my story. So I know, based on the story of other people who have followed the same story framework, it works. Facing your fears. Everyone says it all the time, but how often do we actually do it? Become your friendly local dragon slayer. That's going to happen, because if you go out and you have an adventure of your life, people are going to notice. People are going to see that you're having a fun time when you're supposed to be down and, negative and pouting. So when you see that other people come to you, you all of a sudden become the friendly neighborhood dragon slayer, which is a pretty good, nice, fulfilling title to have, I guess, because you're going to give back to your community and just by facing your fears. So how awesome is that? Then we're going to find power in the storms of life. And there are many storms of life, many bridges of bravery. So if we just know how to deal with them, you know, it's very simple, actually. If you have been through a few thunderstorms, you know that the rain is going to stop and the sun is going to come out. If the apocalypse haven't happened yet, you know? So just the fact that you've gone through a few already kind of just makes sense then that this is also going to pass. And when you start to see that this right now, this freaking storm that I'm in, this feels horrible, but it is going to pass. I am going to be able to see this in a different perspective. I just have to be open and observing the lessons that I could learn from going through the pain and the shit that I'm currently going through. Find power in the storms of life. It's a huge one. And that's why all these chapters are basically divided into weeks. So it's more or less a 2.5 month kind of thing where you have to. Is it 2.5 months or is it 3.5 months? 70 days. Let's just say 70 days. Where you go in and you face the things and you go and specifically try to find your fears. Specifically going in and saying why you should be called as a legacy forger. And then, of course, as chapter 3 comes along, the path of perseverance, now you have faced your fears and you've crossed the bridges of bravery. But now it's about, you know, find the comfort in the uncomfortable. Because once you go into that, you can't really go back because now you've seen what is possible on the other side. So it's like the first thing. If I see something that brings more to my life, I can't just unsee it. That would be just ignorant. And most people are not that ignorant. If you feel good for something, you're not going to consciously go for the bad. Makes sense, right? People don't want to feel bad, but they don't know that there are other ways to feel good. So if they feel good, if they have an experience that makes them feel better, now they just have to figure out how to do that continuously. And that's where it's finding the comfort in the uncomfortable, where you make that kind of your pledge to yourself, walking the path of perseverance. And the habitual fear facing. I have a lot of weird words. I think the reason I have so many weird names is because it's weird and I like to being weird. You get the point. Habitual fear facing is basically going into the habit of facing your fears. Because when you do that, you're freaking unstoppable. There's nothing that could stop you because you're doing this for a habit. And if you do a habit long enough, it's just going to be part of you. The habit is going to run you. You're not going to try to consciously do the habit. Make the software into your hardware, as Joe Dispenza says. And then accepting your new reality. This is a big one. This is a huge one. And that comes on several different layers of the journey. Because when you've gone through this, you're going to see that, holy shit, everything changed. How am I going to adapt to this? How, first of all, you might not even think that it is possible. That the things that you're now experiencing in your life is actually happening. It could be so far from what you thought was possible that you just cannot accept the fact that it is reality. And so then you are the one that is keeping you back because you are not accepting the fact that you have reached a different point in life. You have transformed. And a transformation is pretty huge because it dictates that you are now living in a completely different reality. Now, familiarizing yourself in a new reality is hard. Just don't look at yourself as a set, cemented box that you were born as. You're not born as X and will not die as X. You can be X, Y, Z in the entire alphabet, if you will. Accept the new reality and then see what reality do you want. And then, accept it as you reach into those realities because if not, it's going to be fucking hard. Chapter 4, the meeting with mentor. See what I did there? I'm pretty happy with that. That is a pretty good title for a chapter. But it's not about me. It's the mentor. It is learning from others, standing on the shoulder of giants. Like if I didn't read the books that I've read, if I didn't see the people that I've seen, if I haven't talked to the people that I've met, if I haven't really gone in and seen what other people did before me, it would be hard for me to figure out what to do. The knowledge of doing anything is hard if you don't know where to start. So if you have other people who can guide you in the right direction, it gets a lot fucking easier. And that's why a mentor, which is something that in Scandinavia especially doesn't seem to be very appreciated. You know, in the Middle East, I'm not sure if it is in the Middle East, but in Asia, in ancient Japan, in all these different places, a mentor is the person that's going to get you to the next level of your life. So it was a thing that was respected. Now today it's horrible. You see, maybe just me, because I am affected by my algorithmically imposed reality, but the thing is that a lot of people will put themselves out there to be mentors today, but they have no experience and they're doing it because of the money. So the whole integrity and the end of everything around the respect and what you can get from a mentorship, a good mentorship, basically goes away in favor of capitalism and just instant gratification and materialistic winnings. So this is a huge one. Just seeing that you have people around you and just picking out a mentor, because it doesn't have to be anyone you directly contact. You can have Tony Robbins as a mentor, and you have, even if you don't have money to pay for the bus ticket to get to the plane to see one of his events, you know, if you don't have any money at all, YouTube, put them as a mentor, study them. What are they doing that you are not doing, and how can you do something of what they're doing to get some results in your life, in what you are doing? Doesn't have to be complicated. Gonna fuel the fire. Because, you know, when you have someone who's been there before and they can point out where you're supposed to go, and just, you know, knowing about the pitfalls that you have ahead of you if you go in a certain direction, it's going to fuel the fire, because you're just going to jump over those distractions. Like 10 years can be taken down to a month, because the experience and the insights that was learned on the 10-year journey is now condensed into just an hour video, you know, and then it's just up to you to implement the things that has to be implemented in order to get the same mindset from those. Although the experience has to be there. Like, if you haven't had the experience, what's the fucking point? You can't learn love intellectually. Friendship and life bonds. That is also a thing that is amazing. If you start helping people and mentor them and just be the best value that you can, you're going to form some powerful relationships, some powerful friendships. And I would say life bonds, like they're becoming your family. Literally, people who are there for you in thick and thin. They will be there for you, whatever you need, even if they're on the other side of the planet. It's so fucking powerful. So just being of value and being a mentor and being menteed, powerful shit. The analogy. That is a very simple concept. We could go very deep on it. You know, we can talk about the fact that Charles Darwin didn't have a DNA sequencer in the 1800s, but we're not going to do that. We're going to talk about how it's stupid to live by the mentality of survival of the fittest, like most people do. The hustle nation, the grind, those people who go out there and say, I'm going to just do whatever I need to get my 10K a month, all those things. They will do anything they can to get some money and to reach that goal, survival of the fittest. Look at me, I'm grinding. Look at me, I'm lifting some weights. Look at me, I'm documenting everything I can in terms of trying to get you to be interested enough to hire me. All those things. But it's very kind of, you know, survival of the fittest. If you have that mentality, you're going to be alone. And when you're alone, it's not going to work out that well in the long run. So the ant analogy is just look at the fucking anthill. Look at the nature around you. Imagine what would happen if humanity came together and helped each other, supported each other, genuinely. If we removed the imaginary lines that we call borders. Right? The ant analogy is basically to support each other and being a tribe. Again, inside of the mentorship. If you're in a tribe that wants you to succeed, that wants to build you up, you can't fail, because they're going to be there and keep you accountable to succeed. Oh my god, my body is attacking me. Very annoying right now. But let's go to chapter 5, which is battles, bonds, and bravado. I have to admit that I used some technology to get up with these naming, examples. I brainstormed a little bit with some technology. I do like the way it came out, though. The battles of your journey. You're going to face a lot of battles, but again, it's how you react to the battles, how you go in and conduct yourself in the battle. how you go into the battle, how you get allies and friendships, and how you go and show the bravado. I really actually don't really know what bravado means, but I think it is something positive. Like, bravado in battle, instead of, oh, battle. You know, bravado adds something to it. It's that style. It's elegance. I want to say elegance. I have no idea really, but we're going to talk about in chapter 5 the battles of your journey, so that you can use these to basically reframe it, see it from a different perspective, and use it for power. Transmute the energy from victimized to victorious, from worrier to warrior. Actually, I should have done this. From victimized to
Victorious
From the warrior
to warrior.
Oh, now that's going to be very troublesome more. Yeah, it's going to be annoying if I continue to do that. You get the point. You're transmuting whatever past you have and getting it to the power today, so that you can face new battles, make new bonds, and do it with bravado. Forming bonds with allies. I see that I now have jumped the gun and I have talked about things that I shouldn't have until I clicked the button. But you get the point. Getting new allies. And then displaying bravado in the face of adversity. It is almost like you going up to that dragon and just saying, "Come at me, dragon. You can't get me because
I have a pair of tweezers.
it's that badass." It is epic, actually. Chapter 6, Approaching the Anvil of Truth. This I look forward to seeing, because I have been shouting my truth from the rooftops for a long time now, and it's my truth. It's not necessarily your truth. So when you go up to the Anvil of Truth, you're starting to face the true, authentic you, and that is a big deal. When you're actually feeling like you're in flow, you're actually feeling like you're effortlessly living your life the way you want it. That the dream that you had is actually the life that you live. That has happened more times than I care to count. I'm still trying to figure out a best way to kind of put all those things in a place where it's of value. But it's really going into flow of who you are, instead of following the societal conditions and what everyone else tells you to do and all those things. We're also going to talk about forging your legacy, which is basically the entire concept of this, because you are going to be aware of the things that you've gone through. You're going to be facing your fears habitually. You're going to acknowledge the fact that you've gone through shit and transmute that into power. And then now you can start forging your legacy based on that as the true, authentic you. And that is powerful, because I've said powerful a lot of times. Because then you don't really do anything. You're using your stuff that you are just naturally good at, the things that you just naturally see the world as, and you're putting it into something that is going to benefit people forever, generations to come. And that is kind of insane to think about. But we have that technology today. We have that possibility. I am currently sitting on a mountaintop in southern Norway talking to you, and I don't know where you're sitting. But I'm live as I'm saying this. You could be sitting in Taiwan. Wouldn't make a difference. Think about that possibility for a little bit. Just contemplate it. A 5-year-old today will not understand the power of an iPad unless they're taught, unless they have experienced the power of that iPad. And now, here I am, talking about things from wherever in the world. Couldn't do that 50 years ago. Forging your legacy. Now we can create something new that we could not do before. So it's going to be something that can go for ages. And then the Crucible of Courage. This is also a lot. As you might have noticed, there is a pattern here, because there's a lot of things that goes into facing your fears, facing your challenges, what you do in the face of adversity, how you deal with battles, all these things. It's a matter of perspective, right? But there are several levels of adversity. Why did that work in that dialect? Or that accent? Don't know, don't care. The thing is that we're going to talk about the walking of your talking, because a lot of people don't do that. They will say that they want something. They will have other people sing in public in front of them without them singing in public in front of others. You know? Not doing the thing that they're spewing. Damn, I'm glad that was recorded. You have to walk your talk. Don't just say that you're going to do stuff. Do stuff. And there's a lot of things in this that's going to kind of emphasize that fact, because if you don't do, then I'm not going to try to rhyme at every point. I'm going to burn that out pretty quickly. The nature of courage. You know, there's a beautiful movie. And in the movie, there is a character called Rooster. Now, Rooster is helping Max, the protagonist, to be fearless and facing this impossible situation. He was going off a cliff to help a lamb who had almost fallen. The lamb was stupid, but he was helping it. And Rooster said, courage is not about... Actually,
Courage is not about being fearless. Courage is about being afraid and still doing what you have to do.
and then many people have said that, not just in The Secret Life of Pets 2, which is a great movie, but being afraid and still doing it. You know, yesterday, as recent as yesterday, I was shouting, singing from the top of my lungs with another person who did the same. Both of us scared shitless about what we were currently doing, so the heartbeat was insane, the energy was insane. I was actually having troubles breathing like normally after, because you're vibrating at a state where it's hard to actually control your breathing. So that goes into courage. You're doing things that you really are afraid of doing, but you're doing it anyways because you know what happens on the other side of that. That is powerful. Then overcoming challenges. That's going to be a recurring theme, because we have challenges all the time. It's just what degree of challenges are we facing and how are we doing that? The triumph of transformation. When you see that you have transformed, there's something special and magical that happens. You are going to see the reality differently. You're going to see yourself differently. You're going to see the future differently. You're going to see your past differently. You're going to see the people around you differently. You're going to do a lot of things differently because you have transformed. So triumph. We have to actually talk about what that means, but I'm going to do that inside of the chapter. And then we have to celebrate that transformation, because most people don't really celebrate anything. If we go in and we have an amazing thing, experience, whatever, we don't really acknowledge the fact that we did that. You know, we tend to just meh it away. Why do we meh? Why do I keep saying it in that meh? Meh. But you know what I mean. I'm not gonna pound a dead horse. Celebrate your freaking triumph. And then we have chapter 9, the homeward march. This is where you've gone through this journey, this amazing freaking adventure, and you're coming back with something more than what you left with. You actually got something. So now it's about integrating that journey, because if you have, it's like a psychedelic trip. If you go in there and you learn the secrets of the universe, or you think you're God and you feel you're everything on the planet and the universe, and you didn't know about the concepts of Christ consciousness or unity or energy or coherence or any of those things before that experience, then you're going to make up some assumptions and you're going to think, what the fuck? So if you've gone through massive exploration and transformation of yourself and you don't integrate that, it's going to be hard to kind of figure out who you are. I think you're going to be dualistic. It's going to be like, what the fuck is reality? Who the fuck am I? You have to integrate what you have taught, what you've been taught, what you've been learning, your lessons, your insights. Very important. And then accepting your role, again, comes down to accepting the reality that you're in. If you are a person who can help other people, accept the fact that you're a person who can help other people. Because there are so many people within business coaching, for instance, there's one thing that just everyone says. You know, you have the power to do something for other people. You have gone through the journey. You have changed your fabric of reality, and you have now become a better person. You have helped other people with the same thing because you can just remember, and you have the names of these people. So you know you have helped people. Then you're a fucking douchebag and a horrible person for not sharing that. Accept your role. You are a person of value. You know, those things. in business coaching is a lot of about, you know, thinking that you can and just actually doing it. Most people are just afraid of what other people would say if they actually start to share their value. It's actually kind of sad. I'm not gonna, but accept your role. And then overcoming new challenges, because there's always challenges. You're always going to see challenges, and just to varying degrees. There's so many people that says that money won't buy happiness, but it's a lot easier to be happy when you have money. But there are so many unhappy millionaires. So overcoming new challenges. If you start from I can't be happy, and then you end on how am I still not happy? There's something missing, right? So the challenge is always trying to be aware and seeing where are you and accepting your roles and accepting your realities and just integrating at all levels of the journey. It's a continuous journey. And then we have chapter 10. This is a good one because then by this point you have seen that you have something to provide and you can embrace your transformation. You're like, oh my God, it's amazing to be this transformed almost. And you can use that to create your legacy. Now it's not just forging it. Now you can actually create it. You can actually put it into the world because you know exactly what to do because you have the experience. You've gone through all the shitty chapters. They were transformational and amazing, but I guess every single chapter up to this has had a few hard times. You know, that happens. But this is about really seeing what you can provide to the world and creating that legacy, and just, you know, after that, it's just starting a new chapter of infinite possibilities. But with that being said, do you have questions? Talk to Orpheus the Wise.
Any questions?
I actually have some stuff that I can try here. If I can do this. Whoop. How cool is that? How you can literally just go into that and ask questions live on the chat if people actually were on here. I can just click on that. Did I do that? See, it's right there. So now if people went in there, in the Google or in the YouTube chat, they could ask questions and I could answer them live. This is great for people who's actually sharing their knowledge online and trying to help other people. And I can just turn it off from here. Amazeballs. I like that. But now that we have gone through all those chapters that we have inside of the Legacy Forge, inside of the saga, let's see what we have here. Still in the beginning. Oh yeah, this is actually interesting. You see, in the beginning, I didn't really know what I was doing. I had no freaking idea. It didn't take long until I saw that what I was doing actually had some value. The fact that people were starting to reach out and they started to see what I was doing and engaging with what I was doing, it kind of changed how I saw the world. So let's see what I said about that at that time, 4 years ago, 12 days into my 100-day challenge.
The thing is, you've reached out, and there's so many more of you than I thought. And some of you actually says that just by me doing this, that helps, that you are getting some guidance and perspective from just watching this. And I don't feel I honestly don't think that I've started yet. I can't say that I feel like I've started because I'm still in the shed. But the thing is, you've reached out.
How to fix that thing. This is still just a shed. I remember that. I was sitting in the shed and I was just thinking about where I was going, and I could not really comprehend where I was going, of course. But seeing that now is the entire proof of the pudding. Seeing that now just gives me the faith that everything is fucking possible. Because I can literally show you a Google slide of different videos that is me talking from the past about the things that I'm going to do, and me talking to you right now from the current where I'm saying that it happened. And I can document that as well. I've documented every single big milestone towards this journey, and it's been insane. But I'm very happy that I was able to pull out the camera in those hefty situations. Now that was 1 hour just covering the things that I want to take you through inside of Saga. Now, let me show you what I want to give before you even start the thing. Okay? Look at this. Before we begin, we're going to talk about a few things that is going to shift your entire reality and is the recipe for manifestation. All right? It's pretty freaking interesting, and it is also before we even get into the meat of the thing. We're going to talk about goals. We're going to talk about visualizing and, just calling it vision here, but visualizing. We're going to talk about emotions and how those emotional investment can boost or carry or complement how all of these ingredients basically form one powerful thing with a plan to actually execute it that reaches your dream. When you have all these things, it's pretty effortless actually to reach your dream. So my idea yesterday, today, I uploaded a video about this thing, how to manifest. And it just went through whatever we want to cover. Didn't that look good? That looks freaking amazing, doesn't it? But we started talking about the goals and why it's important to have a goal. Like, what is a goal? You need a goal. I'm not going to go into all this right now because I already have created an hour-long video that you can find elsewhere on the channel. Just go look for it. It's one of the most recent ones, and it's called Manifesting Reality, from Dream to Reality or something. That was a pretty good test run, I would say. That was a good field test. I like that. And also, all of this was live. Every single second of what you've seen so far has been live. Meaning that for people who are putting up a shitty show, people who are creating Facebook Lives or just putting up the camera and spewing out stuff to make people feel like they're not really starting and all of the stuff, I feel like this is actually taking stuff to the next level because it is live. And it looks like it's post-produced. You look away from all these freaking green screen artifacts and all that stuff, but hey, who is looking at that other than you right now because I pointed it out? We have a freaking insane journey ahead. Yesterday, I signed an NDA on a 9-figure business collaboration. 9 figures. Dollars. Still trying to wrap my head around what that reality is going to bring. Not going to focus too much about it because I know that whatever comes when it's supposed to come, and it happens exactly how it's supposed to do when it comes. So just trusting the process and just being myself and flowing and all that stuff. It's the best thing I can do, honestly. I want to see if I have something here. I do kind of. If you want to go into all of this and you want to see this live, and if you want to join right now, as I'm saying this, on this live, it is currently the 21st of June, 2023. July 1st, this whole thing is going to become a €100 a month kind of thing. And right now it's €100 lifetime access. And the hour we just did was just the thing leading up to the other thing. The goals thing that I showed you? This whole thingy? It took me an hour to go through the goal section. And then I got into the vision section, which is probably going to be another hour if we don't kind of compress it, because I don't want to spend a whole bunch of your time. But if you want this knowledge, then it is right there, right? But this is just before we even begin. So, to respect myself and you and all those things, to have that investment and that mutual kind of agreement, I figured, you know what, I'm gonna do this to be continued in Chapter 1, Call of the Legacy Forger inside of Saga. And if you're interested in joining that, go to saga.theseppola.com. You can also just go to theseppola.com, which is branded all over the place here, and just click Programs and then Saga. Inside of there, you can learn everything you want, and then just go in and look at the videos and just see what you think, and then just think, am I going to transform my entire life for less than it cost me to go outside and get hammered with my friends? I don't know. It's all up to you, and that's the beauty of this. I'm just so fucking tired of listening to people, spewing hate and being so complaining about everything when they can actually fix everything in their life. You just have to implement some stuff and commit. Like Andrew Tate says. He says a lot of brilliant things. He says a lot of stupid things as well. But he does have a point. People need to fucking implement and, get out of the victim zone. And start doing things to shape whatever life they want. So this is my journey. I'm going to try to get Andrew Tate on the line and then talk about him, about views and stuff. And then let's see where that leads us. Interesting, right? With that being said, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. If you were here live, that would be interesting as well, because questions makes all of this a lot better. But no worries. This is a video that is going to be here forever. So with that said, have a fantastic day. Take care of your freaking family. Now, see you in the next one.